we have a little bit of a gap. One more. All right. Looks good. Who's my first jokester? Second jokester. First jokester. Second jokester. Second jokester.
What do you get when you cross a snowman and a shark? Frostbite!
What nationality is Santa Claus? North Polish! Why is Blitzen always wet? Because he's a reindeer!
How long does it take for a candle to burn down? About a wick.
What did one snowman say to the other? Do you smell carrot?
How does good King Wenceslas like his pizza? Deep and crisp and even!
That wonderful performance was given to us by the Canesville Elementary 6th grade choir, and they performed Silly Holiday Song and A Song of Peace, and their director is Sheila Roche. And now we will have a Canesville Elementary student, Kennedy Vandenberg, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
You may begin.
Thanks, Kennedy. Appreciate it. Let's give them one more round of applause. They've done a great job for us. And thanks to all the parents and grandparents who came with them tonight. And don't feel bad about leaving.
I don't think he was going to change that.
We'll move on now with some recognitions. Mr. Kurt Swalberg, please.
All right. President Widdowson, Board, Superintendent Butters, I am super, super excited to be here with you tonight. But first, I want to give a shout out to Canesville. That was amazing. I love that little message of peace. But I have to say, they stole all my principal jokes. Those are the jokes I say every Christmas, and so they must have stolen from me. But tonight, I am honored and the privilege to recognize one of our outstanding elementary educators, Mrs. Becky Strebel. So come on up, Becky. You come stand right over here by me. So Becky recently received an award, the 2023 Air and Space Forces Association STEM Teacher of the Year. And so that's an amazing accomplishment. And she won that award even with the subpar letter that was written by her former principal. That would be me. But Becky is truly one of the most amazing educators I've ever had to associate with. Just to tell you just a little bit about Becky, Becky has been in our district now for 24 years. She is taught at Valley View Elementary, Majestic, and Far West. She is taught in first grade, second grade, fourth grade, and sixth grade, as well as dual immersion. And third grade. Can't forget third grade. So pretty much she's been just about to all the grades besides kindergartner and fifth. She also is an ed tech. She's over a robotics program. She runs the web page, Community Council. She's on the leadership team. She does all the videos for this school, and she is the #1 pranker. So with that, just a couple of lines from the letter that was written for her. Becky's commitment to excellence in everything she does is contagious, and she inspires those around her to be the best they can be. Becky Strebel is the kind of teacher we want all our children to have. She is inspirational. She makes a difference in the lives of her students. So with that, Board and Superintendent, I present to you Mrs. Becky Strebel as the 2023 Air and Space Forces Association STEM Teacher of the Year.
Okay, so I'm supposed to introduce my family. My husband, Paul, is right there.
There we go.
My daughter, Samantha, and my father, my mother, Kay, and my sister, Amy.
Very good. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Why don't you come up and shake all of our hands? Ignore my confusion. Thanks, Becky. Continuing on, Jennifer Warren, please.
Superintendent, Board, we would like to recognize our Weber Communities That Care Youth Council. If I could just ask those students to come up, and I'll tell you a little bit about why we're recognizing them tonight. So the Weber CTC received an invitation from the Office of the National Drug Control Policy from the White House to receive a Blue Ribbon Coalition Award. And so Avery Kane, who is the Youth Council president, had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. to the White House to represent our Weber CTC Youth Council, which is an amazing honor, and also to be interviewed by the director of the ONDCP. And so we have invited Avery and her group tonight, and I thought Avery could tell you a little bit about the Weber CTC, and then as well as her opportunity in DC.
Well, hi everybody. My name is Avery Kane. I am the president of the Weber CTC Youth Council. I've been the president for about 2 years now, since we've been running since 2021, so about 3 years now. We've gotten pretty far in our community, I would say, because we've been doing a lot of cool stuff and got the Blue Ribbon Award. Basically, what the Weber CTC does is that we want to make our youth, like a community, a better place. So doing that, we invite students to come do fun activities like a pool party at the first of the summer, so they're somewhere else other than doing something that could hurt them, like substance use or out doing the wrong things with the wrong people. Today I have a couple of my members with me. We have Carly Arnold, Lily Lutz, Haley Squire, and Clara Gunderson. They've been a part of it for a while, and they've done some pretty cool things too. I got the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. to take the award that we got, and it was pretty cool. I got to meet a lot of people. Like, I got to meet directors. I got to meet General Price, who is the director of CADCA, which is the Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America. Our group is going to that this year. It's at the end of January into the 1st of December. I mean, sorry, my bad. February. Dates are everywhere. Basically, what the Blue Ribbon Coalition Award is that we have been able to make a difference within our community to lower the use of substances like drugs and all of the other things that are going on in our community. Recently, we have been working on a project, and it is called the Makeout Point Project. The place at the top of the canyon, there's a lot of things that go on there within the high schoolers. Yeah, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. We got to meet with law enforcement, and we asked them if they would be able to go and patrol the area a little more than they have been, and they agreed to it. So we've seen some decreases in all of the substances that we find there, which means that the youth are not doing as much stuff there, because it's a really dangerous spot to go to. You know, you have to drive down, and then you have to drive up and stuff, and you can't be drinking and driving, you know, it's illegal. So basically, that's what our youth council is doing right now. We are making sure that the students in our community are having a better mental health, and they're not using as many substances.
Awesome, wonderful.
So we would just like to recognize the great job that these students are doing to support their community, and then that they were nationally recognized to represent youth in the state, our district, and across the nation. So thank you.
Great. Would any of the rest of you like to take the mic for a minute? Don't be shy. We appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you very much. Come up and we'll shake your hand, and congratulations on that award. That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks again for everything you do. Moving on, let's go to the approval of our consent calendar. Board, you've had a chance to read through that. I would ask for a motion for the approval of the consent calendar. Janice, a second. Jan, any further discussion on that? Any questions? All those in favor all those in favor of approving the consent calendar, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks. It's so much easier to talk when all those kids are here in front of you singing and blocking. Let's have continue some other recognitions now that are within our district. Brock Mitchell, please.
All right. President Widdowson Board, Superintendent Butters, I get the honor to recognize our I Love Teaching Award recipient for the month, and it's Miss Angie Carrier. If Angie would mind coming on up and hanging out with me for a minute, I'd appreciate it. All right. Angie is one of our fantastic math teachers in our district. She's at Weber High. She teaches Calculus AB and Calculus BC. And most people, when they think of calculus, maybe even algebra, that's the look they get on their face. Angie's mission is to change that. And so I want to tell you a few things about Angie. By the numbers, I pulled some data here. Over the last 8 years on average, in any individual year, in Calculus AB, there are about 90 students who have been in her class and taken the test. And those 90 students have an average score of 3.36. A 3 earns them the credit, the passing score. So the fact that of a group that large and their average score is a passing is pretty impressive. For Calculus BC, which is a whole different level of calculus, there's an average of 26. And that says something that you have 26 students continue on, but their average score is over 4 on a 5-point scale. So it's incredible what she's been able to do. And she's brilliant, right? Without a doubt, her rates are higher than state and global, but it's beyond what she does teaching them math. And that's what I want to focus more on. Ms. Dye, who is a former student and now a current math colleague at Weber High, had this to say. She helped me find a love for math and teaching math to others. She inspired me to become a better math teacher because of her love of teaching. She impacted my life by believing that any student can learn challenging things in life. Now, it's not she taught me calculus, she taught me how to do challenging things in life, which is pretty impressive for a teacher. And that's one branch of the tree that just spread out and now is impacting other students as well. Another colleague said, Angie possesses a rare talent for making complex mathematical concepts accessible to students of all levels. This is evident by not only her pass rates, but the sheer number of students who enroll in her courses, as you saw. Angie fosters a positive and inclusive learning environment, allowing students to develop a genuine enthusiasm for learning calculus. And one thing that was heard over and over by colleagues and students is a positive and inclusive learning environment. They feel seen and loved in her class. Some students had some great things to say. She's a phenomenal teacher in person. Kindness and intellect that shines through in all she does. It is abundantly clear she loves teaching. She single-handedly gave me the courage to try the subject. Her passion is infectious. I have grown to love math because of her. She is compassionate. She notices when I'm tired, grumpy, or struggling, and will stop everything and help me when I am in need. Her eyes always say, I am here for you. I'm ready to tackle this day. And every student is heard and seen by her. She encourages new ways of thinking, not just memorization. Open and welcoming classroom. When a student has a bad day, she's there to talk it through and make them feel heard. She cares for her students and loves her job. She does far more for her students than just teaches them math. And that is why she has the success that she does. The kids know she cares about them. She spends the time to get to know them. And straight from the principal, Mr. Catchold, I'm terrible at math, especially calculus, but Angie almost has me convinced that I might be able to learn it if I took her class. So I think that says a lot there, Mr. Catchold. I think it's, oh shoot, I had something mistaken here. Trent, would you mind going in and just deleting that? Because I think this is critical to see. Can you pull up the PowerPoint and just delete that box? I want you to see what's in her room. So teachers often get graduation announcements from their students, right? And they put them on a bulletin board, and they'll have 10 or 15 at any point in time. When we went into her room and took some pictures, she's got 3 boards completely plastered with really no extra room. So I'm not sure where she's going to start putting them. And I wanted to demonstrate those in this picture. Sorry, I know this is just... We got 3 tech guys trying to figure out a PowerPoint slide.
Maybe a math teacher.
Got it? Okay. Perfect. So you can see there how impressive it is that her students care enough to give her those, and what that means to her because she continues to display them. Right? That to me says everything. Says everything. So I want to congratulate and recognize Angie Carrier as our December I Love Teaching recipient. I'm not sure there's anyone more deserving. Congratulations.
So I have my children. My husband's on a deployment, so he's not with me tonight, but my daughter is Meredith Carrier and Gabriel Carrier. And they sacrifice a lot because when I say like, oh, I got to get this for my kids, and they say, which ones? The ones at school or us? So they know how it goes. But anyways, so I appreciate their support, and my husband's as well, even though he's not here. So.
Hey, I was going to say my daughter Molly had Mrs. Carrier, and multiple times she would say, Dad, you got to give her a raise. She is the best. And so I couldn't.
I was just going to say real fast, too. I have one son who had Mrs. Carrier in 2020, and then one son who's in that picture who I may need to apologize for. So thank you.
Thanks, Angie. Well done. Let's move on. Clyde Moore and Andrea Woodring, please.
Superintendent Butters, President Widdowson Board, we're honored to recognize our E-Plus team of the month, and that team is the ESL team from our adult ed program. When I reached out to Principal Andrea Woodring to notify her the selection, she was very excited, and I asked her to come and present her team to the board for this recognition, because I probably couldn't do it the justice that she can do it. So we're going to turn the mic over to Andrea.
I'll just lower that. Thank you, board, for this honor for our team. I am humbled every day by their service and leadership, and you couldn't have picked more perfect team. If you don't mind going to the next slide. These 5 individuals, at the beginning of the year, we had unprecedented growth in our ESL program. I pulled up some stats. At that point in the year, usually in August, we had about 40 students for ESL. At that time, we had 150. We had a 185% growth rate in no time at all. And we have more than doubled our numbers this year in ESL. In fact, we just hired more ESL teachers, but these teachers have given so much. They worked all day, came back at night, translated, I think there were 45 languages that we translated, trying to help our parents of our students that we have in our K-12 system. They are a true example of sleeves up, hearts open, and all in. Go to the next slide. So I present Ghislaine Richards, Amy Thomas, and Angie Woodring as our ESL teachers, and Rosie and Anna as our advocate and ESL leads. Those 5 individuals changed 190 students' lives. And I say students, they're parents of our community, and they are growing so much with their leadership. If you go to the next slide. I wanted to put some quotes up, and they're just moving and touching. I wish I could tell you all of these student stories. Carlos said, "I wish this was the only school in the world so everyone could go to school happy." Cynthia, "I'm so happy with school. I like all the classes and everybody is so kind." Joyce, "All the teachers are wonderful, helpful, and determined to help with what we're here to do. They all put in their best." And Maria, "I think all of the teachers and staff are excellent people. They are passionate for the students to learn. I learned more English this year than any class I took last year." These students that just said that are professionals from other cultures that have come here. One of them's a doctor, but none of them, they wrote that in English. They couldn't write before August in English. That's what our teachers did. Go to the next slide. I put it's my cell phone, so I do not have a big budget tech department, so it's my cell phone, so I recorded just a couple of the students so you could hear them.
I like the class. It's very important for me, and I am learning, and I like the people in general.
Thank you. My name is Rosalia Valenzuela. I like teacher Amy Young. I like the classmate. I love this English class.
I like you. I like you people. I like school. I like printer. I like teacher Amy. I like people in school.
So I just wanted to show you that short clip. Go ahead. These are our classes. They're filled to the brim. These are amazing teachers, amazing students. I wish I could have nominated every teacher, but this team just went above and beyond to help onboard all the students at the beginning of the year. If you go to the next slide, I think Weber School Transportation, we are now their favorite school. I hate to say it for all the other schools, but we got a bus and our teachers went on a field trip to the Utah State Capitol to help people with citizenship and to get their citizenship in our country. And that student's one of our oldest students. She would tell you how old she was, but they loved adult ed. So they're always going outside the box and doing scavenger hunts in the community, helping them exist in the community where they've had struggles before. Go ahead. That's the end of my slideshow. Yeah, I would love to bring them up. So if our team could come up, Jelaine, Amy, Anna, and Angie. So I would just like to personally thank you guys. You have really changed 190 people's lives for this so much better, and mine. So thank you.
We're going to ask them to introduce their spouses if they're here.
I just have my son is here. So Scotty, thanks for being patient.
My family's at a Box Elder basketball game.
My family couldn't make it either, but I want to thank my friends over there.
My husband is here, Victor, and my son, Esteban. And I have my daughter and my son-in-law and the rest of my family back in California.
Well, I don't have anyone here except my sister, who happens to be Andrea. So thank you very much for this honor. And the team really, I have to shout out for all of you. This is my first year here with Adult Ed, and you guys have been such an inspiration and such a help to me. So thank you.
Thanks again. Clyde Moore and Jamie Ellis, please, for another one.
Superintendent Butters, President Widdowson, and board. Last summer, we started to have conversation with some leadership from Hill Air Force Base on how we can support the military families in our district and also the students, and identifying those students and being able to support them. And so we had some really great conversations. I think we have started and created a great relationship with the base through those conversations. So I would like to recognize two of the base leaders here with us tonight, and they might have a comment or two to make. But I want to invite, get my notes here, Colonel Colleen Taha and Colonel Joshua Rasmussen, Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Rasmussen. If they could come up and join me, please, I'd appreciate it. Okay, Colonel Taha is a Mission Support Group Commander at Hill Air Force Base. He worked directly with the Air Base Wing Commander, Colonel Jeffrey Holland. In addition to leading 1,400 airmen and civilians across 4 squadrons, he is a school engagement lead for the Wing Commander's #1 priority, Project One. Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Rasmussen is a Mission Support Group Deputy Commander, equally responsible for leading 1,400 airmen and civilians across 4 squadrons and our school engagement efforts. He is Hill Air Force Base representative for the Weber School District. I'm going to turn the time over to Colonel Taha at this time.
Superintendent Butters, President Widdowson, and board members. Thank you for affording Lieutenant Colonel Rasmussen and I the opportunity to briefly address you here today. It's an honor. I'd like to briefly introduce a major initiative at Hill Air Force Base, which is Project One, as mentioned. It was born in response to the Davis School District Department of Justice lawsuit. But equally important at Hill Air Force Base, we see ourselves as partners and part of the solution. And we know the challenge isn't unique to just Davis School District. I'll quote, the mission of Project One is to increase mission readiness by creating, fostering, fortifying, and sustaining enduring, inclusive on and off base communities in which airmen and their families can comfortably thrive during their service at Hill Air Force Base. So this is a readiness issue that our airmen face. We know that our kids face unique challenges with the number of moves in a parent's career, the number of times that a parent may deploy or they may be away from their parent, and just uncertainty in general. And so when that uncertainty creeps in, life can be a bit hard and may be difficult to assimilate into new communities, and particularly school. So Project One formed 5 lines of effort. Airman engagement is one, school engagement, government and college engagement, religious and spiritual engagement, and community engagement. So as mentioned, I am the line of effort 2, school engagement lead for Davis, Weber, and Ogden. I currently sit on the Davis School District Board as a resource and a voice for Hill Air Force Base. I use this platform to really share ideas and initiatives that we've coordinated with district leadership, and ultimately outbrief events that we've held together. And so I'll give you a couple of examples. In August, we held a Purple Star, a back-to-school night for Purple Star schools, Davis School District, at the Aerospace Museum. That was August 16th, from 5 to 8 p.m. And the vision was a community building event between Hill Air Force Base and non-military families. Wild success. We had over 1,700 attendees from 24 Purple Star schools. Each school had a booth inside the museum where the principal and administrators had the opportunity to meet with families and parents. We had 18 military units that equally kind of showed off their missions and engaged with the community. We had food trucks, we had open access, and it all cost less than $1,000 between our 2 communities to pull off, and really got lots of positive feedback. The second event was kind of a last-minute light bulb that went off. I think this was sometime in August, where we had another partnership with North Layton Junior High on a 9/11 event, and Principal Eason there kind of concepted the agenda and the idea for our airmen to participate at Hill Air Force Base. So there we had over 325 students participate. We had 11 civilian responders from Layton PD and Davis County Sheriff's Department. We had almost 30 airmen from Hill Air Force Base. The Honor Guard at Northridge High School presented the colors. And kind of a cool part there is that we actually sent a couple of members from our Honor Guard prior to meet with their Honor Guard to just do some coaching and mentoring and some Q&A before they presented the colors. And so that was a great partnership between the Honor Guards. Principal Eason opened with remarks. The North Layton Junior High Choir sang the national anthem. We had a guest speaker from Davis County Sheriff's Office. And we also had our own Senior Master Sergeant Rivera who spoke in depth about his direct experience with 9/11. The closing remarks, the Deputy Superintendent there, Dr. Toon, gave, and then we kind of had a chance to more personally interact with the students there. So they presented tokens, but we had a chance to just sit down and talk. And so here, because I think there's opportunities, we'd love to expand beyond Davis School District. So as the school engagement lead, we're looking for just opportunities for us to be more involved in the community. And I think the more we can kind of break down the barriers between Hill Air Force Base and the community, so we realize that just in talking, not a lot of folks know what we do on the other side of the fence. And so we want to open that up, and we think the more we can be involved in the schools, the more we can engage with the kids. It shows support directly for the military families, but it also shows support for the non-military families, because we're there, we can engage, and they can better understand, why it may be a little bit harder for us to assimilate, right? Because we've moved so many times, we don't have a lot of experience in making friends, or I don't spend a whole lot of time at a school, so we get pulled away. And so hopefully we can kind of chip away at some of the challenges that our students face. And so thank you for allowing me to just brief you here on Project One. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Superintendent Butters and President Winston and Board, it's been an honor to be a part of these conversations and to be able to start working with Colonel Taha and his team. I mean, it has just been a phenomenal experience. And so I've been asked tonight just to kind of talk about a couple of things that we have started. For some context, we have about 2,900 students that are connected with military. Of that, the main kind of, they're with Hill Air Force Base, and then they're active military. So the bulk of our students are in those areas. We are looking to do a project called Adopt a School, and Freedom Elementary will be our first Adopt a School that will start in the fall. And what that looks like is, it looks like we get the principal and our team together, and we really decide what are the things that the students need there. There's a high population of military connected students at Freedom, and so we want to hear from them, hear from the community, and really get some nice collaboration and presence there. We also have had some requests from schools to do assemblies and things like that, so probably those types of things will be happening starting in February. And then finally, he talked about back to school nights, and that's something that we're going to aspire to do next fall. So with that, I'll open it up to questions if you have them, and thank the Colonel for being here. So any questions?
I just had a question. So I know in my area I've had some discussions with some parents who are military connected and wanted to start the Purple Star designation
Yes.
at their school. So is that something that you guys will support as well? So they'll work with you guys on that?
Right. So Matt Mason, who is School Liaison Officer, right? I got it right. The School Liaison Officer, he sent me a message even just recently today. There's a committee forming on that, and I'm on that committee. That's a long-term plan that we have. It includes Superintendent Butters and some things that we need to do.
Is that something that can be started grassroots though? Like if they're not,
I don't know.
one, because you said you're starting with the Freedom Elementary as the adopted school, but if other schools like PTA groups, community council groups want to start that Purple Star designation, how does that work?
It's specific, isn't it?
Purple Star.
Yeah.
I think any, it's really just any school that shows major commitment to military connected families. So I would say it's open to any school. But there are some criteria, and that's what the panel, wherever there is interest, if there's school interest, we do have a panel to kind of do the vetting to make sure that school is meeting their criteria to be a Purple Star. and then once recognized, it'll be informal.
And board member, if you can get me a list of the schools that are interested, I can start with that, and I can take that to committee for you. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks.
The only thing we missed out on was a couple of F-35s flying over.
You're not going to stop anytime soon.
Just so you know, they happened before you walked in. Thank you for your service.
Colonel Taha and Lieutenant Colonel Rasmussen, thank you for everything you do. I think we've all heard those stories that you've referred to of someone that's bounced around in a military family a lot. Sometimes it's a great experience, and other times it doesn't turn out well. And we hope we can do something to have more great experiences. So thank you very much for coming, and thanks for everything that you're doing, and thanks for your service. Thanks. Wonderful. We'll now open a public hearing portion of our meeting tonight for patrons who have signed up to speak with us. As a reminder, each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to offer some feedback and comments. And when you step up to the mic tonight, will you please state your name and the school that your children attend or that you're affiliated with, the city of your residence, and the topic that you wish to address. Yeah, public hearing. Public comment, excuse me. And we didn't have anybody sign up electronically, but we did have one sign up at the door. Mr. Aaron Stevenson, please.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
All right. So I was back here in September, and I asked the question about pride flags in schools, right? Because I thought they're not allowed based on the whole political realm. Is that true or no? Pride flags in schools.
There are certain guidelines that we follow related to the pride flags in our schools. We don't allow them to be in any area of the school except for around a teacher's work area, personal work area.
How about the door of every classroom in Weber High School?
Um,
oh, I'm so sorry. Aaron Stevenson, Weber High School,
Yeah.
North Ogden. My apologies. How about the door of every classroom in Weber High School? Because I was back here in September and I brought this up and they're still there. They're also on the principal's door too. So now I'm only asking because, to my understanding, current Utah law says you can't have flags of like religious stuff and things in the spiritual realm. I think is the exact quote. Like, for example, this flag is oops, sorry, it's backwards. This flag says ICXCNIKA. It stands for Jesus Christ Conquers All. You can't fly this thing, right? Because this is, a religious flag. And that's, secularism. I get it. The purple bar in the pride flag, if you want to look it up yourself, you can. It literally stands for the spirit of LGBT. So the new law, I guess, is going to cover political flags. But if it covers the religious part too with the spirit of LGBT, shouldn't all those flags be out of the schools anyways? That's my question. Is this, I can come back and we can, do it in January too.
Well, in the nature of a public comment, I'll just speak on behalf of the board president. We're here to listen to your concerns, and we don't necessarily need to engage. I'm glad to talk with you afterwards, and we can answer your questions and concerns. And I'm glad to direct you to the right people. We can get you in touch with Mr. Mitchell and our legal counsel who is here tonight, Heidi Alder, and we'd be glad to engage in that conversation. We need to better understand your interpretation of a flag. We do have some of our safe spaces flags that are being interpreted as what you're talking about.
Well,
can sometimes
it's
be
not my interpretation.
Well, but what I'm saying
flag.
is I want to better understand what you're explaining and what you're detailing at Weber High. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a lot of people I'm looking at though. Who's who?
So Heidi Alder is right there. She's our legal
Raise your
counsel.
hand, yeah.
Yep. And Brock Mitchell is our secondary director right there. And they would be the two that I would want you to sit down with, and I'm glad to be a part of that conversation. Okay?
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Stevenson, I would just like to thank you for participating and for persisting with your concerns. That's how we become informed. Thank you so much.
Again, thank you all.
Thank you. That was the only, Mr. Stevenson was the only one who had signed up for public comment, so we'll move on to our next item of discussion, Dr. Robert Peterson on the approval of an interlocal agreement with Weber County.
Thank you, President. We have an opportunity tonight to enter into an interlocal agreement with Weber County regarding tax increment financing, or TIF for short, related to the Promontory Commerce Center Community Reinvestment Agency. We have Stephanie Russell to give you kind of a high-level view of the details. We reviewed this in our study session, and also know this: the subcommittee of the board related to CRAs and TIFs, they've reviewed this, and now it is moving to the full board for approval. So, Ms. Russell.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent, President, and board members, for the opportunity to come and present today on behalf of Weber County's Community Reinvestment Agency and Weber County Commission. We are seeking the approval of an interlocal agreement between the Weber County Community Reinvestment Agency and the school district in regards to the Promontory Commerce Center Community Reinvestment Area. You've been provided with a copy of the area plan and budget, as well as some information earlier today regarding the terms and conditions, but I'll give you the overview of the terms and conditions. This project is in our West Weber corridor. It is an industrial project, and it sits on approximately 355 acres of land. The overall goal of the project is job creation. And the job creation is in line with what the state considers the top 5 industries that we're looking to recruit into Utah currently, and that comes out of the Governor's Office for Economic Opportunity. This project will generate around 6,000 jobs in its entirety over its existence, as well as a significant amount of tax increment and tax income to the county, which also gets dispersed through the different districts that participate in tax collection in the county. The CRA is seeking 80% of the tax increment for a period of 25 years. This will have a cap of $85 million on it. So it will not exceed the $85 million or the 25 years, whichever comes first. We're looking to do a trigger date of January 1st, 2025, and that would start that 25-year period. Once the 25-year period is completed, the school district will begin receiving 100% of their tax allocation. The tax allocation, the tax increment that we'll be collecting from this particular development project is going towards public infrastructure. They will be participating in a public infrastructure district. The developers will be taking out revenue bonds, and the tax increment will be used to assist paying back those revenue bonds. The county has requested approximately $105 million worth of public infrastructure to be put into this project area. So your generous contribution and participation would go strictly to public infrastructure to open up this area for not just this particular development project, which is very catalytic, but to future development projects that would take advantage of that expanded infrastructure that the county is requiring the developer to put in.
Okay, board, do you have any questions tonight? She's reviewed that with us a little bit, so. Okay, if we don't have any further.
I just want to summarize I hate using the phrase win-win, but this is a win-win. This is property out in the western part of the county that is green belted, and I think they graze cattle on it. I don't know. It's not even close to being developed as far as homes or things like that. We collect about $12,000 a year on it, and it's estimated that our $12,000 at a minimum will go to $596,000 per year, which is 50 times greater than what we're collecting on it now, and that's through the course of the 25 years. And of course, then we will then realize the full amount after the 25 years or after the cap is met. it is a good thing for the district, and it'll bring a lot of economic growth to the area. So it's recommended by the staff and the committee of the subcommittee to approve.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further comments, board, I'd entertain a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with Weber County regarding the tax increment funding related to the Promontory Commerce Center Community Reinvestment Agency. Could I have a first on that, please?
So moved. You can second, Bruce.
John first, Bruce second.
Great.
Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed to that?
Why isn't it a win-win?
Thank you.
I hate that word.
It's used so much, it just becomes trite. Is it really a win-win when people say win-win, you know? Yeah, it should be.
Thank you, board, and
This
thank you,
should be
President,
classic.
thank you, Superintendent. We'll be prepared to return as the project moves forward and provide updates to you.
Okay. And we're looking at a January 2025
Trigger date,
kickoff.
yes.
Trigger
Mhm.
date, perfect.
Yeah, thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you. Mr. Larry Hadley.
Board President Wilson, Superintendent Butters, board members, tonight I'd like to put in front of you a bit of a process we've been going through. MHTN Architecture and Architects and Hogan Construction, and Brian Anderson and I have been meeting since basically the early summer to move the Roosevelt Elementary rebuild from concept to 50% design to 100% design to bid day to bid opening. All those have taken place. Hogan has been able to put together a bid package for us that we were able to review the last 3 weeks. I appreciate all the hard work and effort Hogan Construction and MHTN has put into this. We would like to present to you tonight what is called a GMP, or the Guaranteed Maximum Price, for the construction of the new Roosevelt Elementary. While leaving $1 million in the contingency balance and initializing a $700,000 allowance for possible structural fill, which is already calculated into this number, the GMP for Roosevelt rebuild is $46,393,324. This calculates to about $437 a square foot. There are some possible future savings in some certain line items as we go through the construction process. Any of these savings will be realized and reflected and added back into the contingency balance as we go. 2 points of interest. I'd like to let you know that a neighboring district that has just finished their last elementary was $460 a square foot, and that in our calculations of 13% increase from our last build, the Roosevelt GMP come in slightly less than 8% increase. So we do once again appreciate Hogan and MHTN for their hard work. Hogan, MHTN, and the district designee, which will be either me or Mr. Anderson, we will make up the OAC group, and we have met and will continue to meet weekly through the construction of this process. I believe that Hogan and MHTN have done a wonderful job meeting our needs in both financially and educationally. At this time, we're seeking the consent of Weber School District Board of Education to accept this GMP number, allowing us to move forward with the demolition and construction of Roosevelt Elementary School. If accepted, our demolition will begin December 26th. We appreciate the continued support of the local board to ensure future generations locations for quality education.
Thank you. Board, any questions for Mr. Hadley? Wonderful. We appreciate all of your hard work on this, and we appreciate Hogan and MHTN and working with us.
Great.
You've been a busy person. Thank you.
Keeps me busy.
Yes. Board, can I get a motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price of $46,393,324 for the Roosevelt Elementary rebuild and new construction? First, please. A motion. Bruce? Jan, second. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's still your,
I am
it's
next.
still your turn.
I appreciate the comment on being busy. I want to let John know that I did put my name in for the football coach. It was not me. Just saying.
How do you know?
Well, I don't know.
He didn't say
It's a
nobody
feeling.
did. I
It's
don't
just a
know.
feeling.
He didn't
So.
get it interviewed. He's too busy.
Well, President Whittison, Superintendent Butters, board members, I'd like to first present a few people with me tonight who have worked very tirelessly with me, and some families I'd like to introduce to you. Just so I'm starting, the Capital Improvement Committee has reviewed the purchase of a land piece. It actually ends up being 5 sections, 4 actual parcels between 3 different landowners. So our proposal is to kind of replenish our land. We've used 90 acres and there's 3 builds. An elementary usually is built on 15 acres, a junior high on 25, and a high school on 50. We have an elementary and junior high sites. We do not have a high school site for the future. In our Jeff Hales has been great working with us, and Jeff has worked tirelessly with me as well. We did find a location between 3 families. 2 of those families are with us tonight. If you would indulge me to just take a minute, I'd like to introduce you to Gilbert and Bonnie Cap, if they don't mind standing. Gilbert is an ex-employee, a retired employee of the Weber School District. And Kevin and Wendy Fage, if they could please stand. We have been working with these 2 lovely families along with Rick and Sharon Miles to complete this land purchase. So we asked tonight, and we present to the board 4 different closings. We would like to make a purchase of a total of 50.2 acres. In closing 1, we'd have 38.03 acres, which would include 37.52 acres of farmland, 0.5 acres of a home, and 36.5 water shares. This would be under 1 closing. The second closing would 1.23 acres with a home on those acreages, plus a 0.5 water share. Together, those are the largest land piece of Rick and Sharon's, but it's 2 closings. For the first closing, we'd offer $3,966,628. For the second closing, we'd offer $475,200. The third closing would be under the Wendy Fage Whittison and Gilbert Cap Trust, which is 8.92 acres, 6.9 acres of one piece, 1 acre of another, and 0.94 of one more, with 4 water shares. In talking to both Gilbert and Wendy, we've offered a purchase price of $607,256. In our fourth closing, which is for Gilbert and Bonnie Cap's Trust, it is 2.02 acres with 2 water shares. We have a purchase offer of $173,389. We presented this to all 3 families. All 3 families were very accommodating to us, very friendly, been great to work with. We're going to turn them over, if you approve, to Jeff Hales to do the closings on the contracts. But in grand total, we would offer $5,222,473 for this land purchase, including the water shares. And I present that to the board. At this time, we're seeking your consent to accept this land purchase proposal as written and move forward with this purchase.
Larry? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Those closings include leasebacks?
Yes, there would be actual lease agreements that Heidi would be involved in.
Right.
So we'd have closings and then lease agreements.
I just wanted that stated.
That's exactly correct, sir.
Any other comments?
Larry, I just want to say thanks, because last I heard, we still was missing that 9
Yep.
acres on the north.
Yep.
But to get it inclusive is awesome for the team.
Agreed.
I'm thankful to the families who allowed that to happen.
Agreed. The
Instead of
Caps and
homes.
Phages turned our
That's
property
awesome.
to a high school site.
To a high school site.
Yes, sir.
And it's awesome. Homes are nice, but we really need the school.
Yes, sir.
My kids live just east of that. Excuse me, grandkids.
I know it's 30 years between Fremont and Westfield. I don't think it's going to be 30 for the
I
next
won't
one.
be around.
So
We may still keep you on, though.
that'll be just fine. I won't be coaching football.
You won't be?
I do a little basketball, but Gina can still take me.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
sure
you.
welcome.
Board, any further questions? If not, I would look for a motion to approve that. Doug, a second. John, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming in and sitting through a long meeting that we appreciate it. And Larry and Jeff have both commented numerous times how good everyone was to work with, so we appreciate that. Okay, let's move on to some policies. Heidi Alder, please.
While she's coming up, President, it's nice to have property that when we do a bond, we don't have to include land to build our schools. And so to be able to do that is, I think, a good thing for the district.
Yes.
And our constituents.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Board, President Widdowson, Superintendent. Tonight we have one policy to present on second reading, and then two policies. Excuse me, make sure I'm getting that right. Two policies on first reading. The policy on second reading is policy 8800. We spoke about it last month. It is the learning material selection and reconsideration. We did have one minor change that was made since last month's reading, and that was just to make clear that if the school board and district selects instructional material that is already on the State Board of Education's RIMS, which is Recommended Instructional Materials System list, that we then don't have to go out for an RFP because the state has already done that, and that means the material is approved and is a preferred vendor for all of the districts in the state. So that's the only change that was made in policy 8800. We do need to point out that if the board adopts this policy tonight, we will have to make one more minor modification on the very last page. This was an oversight on page 7 under letter E. We just put in a reminder to add some language about learning materials for concurrent enrollment in AP courses and how they have to comply with College Board and boards of AP boards, which we will put in, and it will be a very simple sentence. But other than that, we present this policy to the board for approval on second reading.
Thank you. Board, we've listened to that with the, I would look for a motion to adopt that policy with the stated modification.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'll make that motion to adopt policy, what are we talking about? 4400?
8800.
8800, I'm looking at the wrong thing. 8800, that we include that selection of learning materials for concurrent enrollment comply with the university class. What do we call it? Requirements. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Second, Jan, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next policies we have, there are two policies that we've amended, and we're proposing to the board on our first reading tonight. The first one is policy 5200, which is our student code of conduct policy. And we wanted to add a couple of things that are out of date. This policy was initially presented in 2019, and we needed to amend it to update some definitions and also some practices. We are going to do a complete overhaul of this policy and present it to the board likely in the summer as we're looking at a unified student code of conduct and efforts to make our discipline practices consistent across the district. So there's only a couple of minor changes in this policy which are intended to align the policy with our practice. So we would propose that the board adopt policy we're going to present the policy 5200 on a first reading.
Okay. Board, I'd look for a motion to adopt the policy 4400.
5200.
Excuse me, they got flipped on my paper.
5200.
Thank you, 5200. I'd look for a motion to adopt that on the first reading.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Look forward to the future changes as well. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks.
And then the final policy we have amended is policy 4400, student records policy. We currently have a policy about student records, but it is very skeletal and doesn't address the many very nuances of federal law regarding education records. And so this policy just materializes into policy what federal law, FERPA, Family Education Rights to Privacy Act, addresses with regard to education records, the privacy of education records, the right of students to access those records, and any exceptions that the federal law already outlines in terms of providing others with access to those student records. we would propose that the board adopt policy 4400 on first reading.
Okay.
I make a motion that we,
Oh,
that we adopt policy 4400.
okay. Can I get a second? Kelly, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks.
I just wanted to make sure I was on that 4400.
There we go. Yeah. Thanks for helping me out on that, Jan.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. You know, we'll get through all these one of these days.
Maybe. Then we'll just
Maybe.
have to amend them again.
Then they'll throw something else
Legislature would
at
stop
me that I can
passing
stumble
legislation
through.
requiring us to make policies. Don't put that on the record. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. The final item on our agenda tonight, Dr. Robert Peterson, an executive summary of our auditor's report.
Thanks. This is the best part of the board meeting, and people have left, so it's kind of disappointing. It is a pleasure to talk about the audit briefly. Every year, we're required to be audited by an independent auditor, and our independent auditor is Squire and Company. They're headquartered in Orem. They audit 22 school districts, 22 of the 41. The audit was performed, and the statements conducted in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards. The high-level summary. There's 4 things. They gave us an unmodified or clean opinion on our financial statements. They gave us an unmodified or clean opinion on federal compliance. They gave us an unmodified or a clean opinion on state compliance, and there was no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control that were identified. It's interesting, they have to do a deep dive, if you will, into various federal programs every year, and the programs that they gave heightened scrutiny to were child nutrition, Title I, Title II, the ESSER funds, and Medicaid. And in each case, they found no issues. And so it's a great day. And I want to thank our Assistant Business Administrator, Seth Pilkington. He's in the back. Wait, hold your hand up, Seth. Very good. Seth is he's the author of our financial statements, and which they audit, and he does a great job. But also, we want to thank all of our staff, the directors, secretaries, bookkeepers, people that help out with the finances day to day, and it's a big job. It's a big task, and they keep the district. It's the fuel that funds. It's the fuel that keeps the district going. The education. The business of our business department is education, and that's how we look at it. And also, lastly, here is hot off the presses the Weber School District audit. We have limited copies of these. A PDF will be put on the website shortly, so the public can access it at will. And the audit committee was given more details about the audit yesterday, the audit committee of the board, and they reviewed it, and we also gave opportunity for other board members to review it before this meeting. And so that is my report, President.
Wonderful. Thanks, Dr. Peterson, and Seth, thank you, and everybody else that's been involved with that. It's wonderful to have an audit that really doesn't have any substantial findings on it. Doug, please.
Just want to say thanks to Robert and Seth and their team. Having a background as a CPA and an auditor, this is really significant that we have a clean opinion, that we're in great shape, the finances are good, the balances are good. And on behalf of the board, just commend Robert and his team for a great year. Great job. Thank you so much. That's very significant what's happened. And we always save the best for last, don't we?
We do save the best for last, yes.
Yeah.
Well, board, if there's nothing else to bring forward, we will conclude this meeting. Thanks for everything. Thanks for everyone for coming. Have a wonderful holiday season.
You got a motion.
So moved.
I didn't have it down on here that we needed to have one. Okay, can I have a motion? John, second. Bruce. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks for coming.